Hello Year 9 and welcome to PRE GCSE. I'm Miss Wetherall.
And I'm Miss Hill. Okay, so Year 9 with many other subjects, you can always go to Google to find the answer. So for example, in geography, if you didn't know what an oxbow lake was, you could just go on Google and be like, Google, what's an oxbow lake? Or Google, who was Henry VIII's third wife? But RE is a bit different. But if you start to ask Google some of the questions that we'll look at in philosophy, religion and ethics, I think it will be a bit stumped. So if you ask it if God is real, or why are we here, or what should I do to be a good person, that is when Google is going to struggle. And that is why we enjoy teaching PRE, because it's a chance for you to explore those questions in a safe environment. So you'll learn a wide range of skills in RE. So you will gain a deeper understanding of two religions. So the two religions we study at GCSE are Christianity and Judaism. And so you will look really deep at those religions, look at their philosophy and look at their ethical beliefs. You will also go on to a themes paper, so that's designed to inspire you. So you'll look at things like relationships and families, life and death, good and evil, human rights, medical issues such as abortion, euthanasia, animal testing, crime and punishment, which you've looked at this year, social injustice. These topics are so big and they're so open for debate. So that's a really interesting part of the PRE GCSE course.
So what I study in PRE, there will be 2 papers and they will be 2 hours long. There are no pieces of coursework. The first paper, as Mrs. already mentioned, is our religions paper. So we look at Christianity and Judaism and how they intertwine with their beliefs and practices. What are they saying about life after death? What are they saying about God? What are they saying about evil? Why is it they do so many things? And I think I'm incredibly nosy, and I think it's really important to be aware of different ideas to yours, and that's okay. And then we use those ideas and other religions in paper 2, which is the themes. And this is where you can delve really deeply. And as Mrs. already mentioned, look at topical issues like, when does life begin? Should you test on animals? Is there a God? Should we protect all human rights? Thinking about crime, which you've been looking at recently. So when should we punish a criminal? How should we punish a criminal? What is the aim of punishment? So it is really interesting topics where you can think really deeply and analyse those concepts. So I've just mentioned a bit about the assessment, so we're just breaking it down there for you. So the first paper is the religions, and you look at Judaism and you look at Christianity, and their weighting is, for each of those, is 25% of the marks. And then the second paper, which is the top one there, is the themes, and again that's the 50%, so you can delve really deeply and get your teeth into some real debating issues. So should we be allowed to decide when we die? Is a life always a life? And all those different concepts that you'd want to talk about. So this is an example of an exam paper. It is nothing new. We've been prepping you for this for quite a long time. As you can see, there's a 1-mark question where it's multiple choice, and then the 2-mark question where you just can give 2 reasons or 2 ways. And then in question 3 and 4, it's those peel chains that we love, those explain questions. And then the last question is that debate question. Okay, so there's nothing new there with what you've taught, those skills there.
Okay, so I want to do a bit of myth busting about what PRE GCSE is not about. It is not all about religion. Obviously there is a religious element, obviously that's why it's called PRE. The R is for religion, but it's not all about that. You in your debate questions, you can bring in non-religious arguments. Obviously you do have to include the religious arguments as well, but you can always get your point of view across and non-religious points of view. The belief that it's not relevant today, it is incredibly relevant today. Topics like euthanasia are constantly going to the High Court in the UK about whether it should be legalised here. You will see things on the news all of the time that come up in our PRE lessons.
Black Lives Matter, things like that.
Human rights, social injustices, they are all in the news all of the time. You have to be religious to do well. No, that is not true. Again, as we said in the debate questions, you get to bring your conclusion. You can bring your arguments forward, and they don't have to be religious arguments when you're doing your conclusion. You can come to that conclusion from whatever view that you are. You just read the Bible all the time and it's boring. No, you do not use just read the Bible, and it's certainly not boring. Our lessons are full of debate and are really exciting and engaging, hopefully.
So here are some views here from students who have studied PRE. Do take the time to have a bit of a read of these yourself.
Okay, so these are some examples of careers where PRE would be really useful to have studied. Obviously, in the themes paper, when we look at medical issues, it will be useful if you're interested in going to any sort of medical profession. The debate element of PRE is obviously incredibly useful for any sort of legal profession. Being able to look at both sides of an argument and then come down on one side will definitely help you in that career path. The teaching profession, if you're going to be interacting with other people, obviously the likelihood is that you're going to meet people of different religions, people with different points of view, people who don't necessarily agree with you, and being able to sort of come to an agreement. And that's the same with social work as well, working with lots of different people. Journalism, again, investigating something and coming to a conclusion, it would help with that. The armed forces and the police. The armed forces, if you're going to be travelling around a lot, obviously meeting lots of different people, and police when you're coming into difficult situations and being able to keep your head and look at different sides of the argument. Again, with aid workers, doing charity work, going out and helping people, coming across difficult situations. And then also business, so being able to read over something and sort of come up with different points of view, get your sort of reasoning skills working. And that's the same in retail, catering and hospitality as well, meeting lots of different people and being rational. So as I mentioned on the previous slide about careers, you learn so many skills in PRE. So those critical thinking skills, research skills, coming to judgments, working as a team, conflict resolution, problem solving, leadership skills. Empathy, I think, is a really, really important skill, and it is something we practice in virtually every PRE lesson. And being able to negotiate as well when we're having those debates. Can you convince other people that your point of view is the stronger point of view? And because PRE gives you these skills, it is something employers look for. And even recently, you'll see on the slide here that universities have named religious studies and PRE as a good subject to have studied to get you ready for going to university. So it's a really, really good GCSE to choose.
So I think me and Mrs. Hill are really quite biased. I think it's a really exciting subject because it's talking about people and what they do and why, and being able to evaluate it. And as already mentioned, it has a lot of those transferable skills that you would need outside, and the topics that we look at are big life questions that you'd want to know more about. And there is no definitive answer. You may have your answer, but there will be different points of view. So it really allows you to step into the shoes of other people and hopefully think about what's happened and what we can do in the future, or why it is there are different perspectives of different ways of doing things. I think it's a really exciting opportunity. As you can see, lots of employers like it. And it is really interesting, the debates that you can talk about, because it's about life now in the different environments and the cultures that we live in. So we look forward to seeing you, but if you do have any questions, please do come and see me in S18 or Miss Hill in E15. Okay.
Or always send us an email as well if you're not currently in school and you've got a question about it. We're more than happy to answer those.
Just one final thought. It enables you to think about in PRE different issues. Mahatma Gandhi I find really inspirational in what he did to try and change the world and change thinking where there were injustices that were going on, and we can learn a lot from him. Or people like Martin Luther King or Nelson Mandela, and debate actually were their actions truly good or not, and are they relevant today, and what can we learn from that, and how can we do things differently. So be the change you see and you wish to see in this world.